Okay, so I was just setting up some game systems in the spare room and everything, and I just picked up a composite switcher for the CRT for the time being. I've gone to hook up the Xbox, and it looks as though the Xbox has lost its time, which is a problem, because the Xboxes are known for having a clock battery in there that keeps, well, that basically explodes after around about 20 years, and this Xbox is coming up on 20 years, so I'm a bit worried that it might have leaked, and we want to get that out of there. But the other thing I've noticed is the power button just doesn't do anything. So if I want to turn it on and off, I have to pull out the cable from the back here, which is not the best way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Xbox out, we're going to open it up, and we're going to make sure that it survives. It's annoying me that I have to do this one because I'm not quite finished with the PS2 video yet. So this is this Xbox has not been opened yet. This has what I believe is known as like the B variant of the Samsung drive or something like this. This is one of the better drives. It's one of the fastest loading drives you can get with the Xbox. So to have this intact and unopened would be great, because I know that there's for SpongeBob Battle of Bikini Bottom, this is one of the better systems. So I didn't really want to have to open it, but if I don't open it soon, then the battery in there is going to explode and ruin the system, and then the system won't work at all. So let's get this sucker open. Let's get this show on the road, and bonk. Okay. First things first, let's get rid of that. And, well, I guess I'm just going to have to pry open these adhesives. Are you kidding me? Oh, well. I'll use, like, some super glue or something later. Hello, focus, my old friend. I don't know how well you can see that, but that doesn't look like a Phillips head to me. That looks like a security bit screw. Fun times! Toolbox open. Toolbox powers activate. Looks like the right size. Let's crack it open. There we go. Oh! Oh, that's a long one there. One down, 3 to go. Okay, we have ourselves a cracked open Xbox. Now, what else do we need to do to get this thing apart? Well, it looks like there is an extra secret hidden underneath this sticker. Be very careful with the sticker. Sticky sticker. Where's this blasted screw? Oh, there she is. You know what, I'm just going to take the whole sticker off. We will deal with it later. I've been opening an Xbox for the past 10 minutes. We have one more screw. I'm so sorry. My 2002 August Model B or whatever it's called Xbox, but we need to perform the surgery. If we do not, then, oh, look at that. There is a screw right there. Ha 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 ha. Give me the screw or I will screw you. Ha. I'm just going to leave that one on because whatever. Okay. I assume that that's supposed to come apart. And let's cheat. Let's use the walkthrough. Stop recording. Wait, haha. Oh, there she goes. Oh, look at that. Look at how nice and marvelly wobbly that IDE cable is. IDE. Look at how wide. That's a thick boy. Look at that hard drive. Holy shit. But yeah, this is the Samsung one. Keeps turning off. So what have we got here? It says model SDG605, whatever that means. Looks as though there's a couple screws there to take the hard drive out. Finally got that hard drive out. Half tempted to replace it with a bigger one, but it's not important right now. The important thing is to get that button working and to get that battery out. My phone's probably going to run out of battery soon, so I'll probably just go get a charger in a second. Is there more keeping it? What else is keeping it in? Ta-da! Okay, let's see. Is there where is this fabled clock capacitor? That doesn't... I wonder if maybe I'm safe. Because I know that this one's closer to the end. It's this little guy here. Hasn't leaked yet, so that's good. That little capacitor can destroy the entire motherboard if you're not careful. And they will. It is guaranteed. The next thing I want to investigate is these buttons out the front here. Okay, so I finally got all of the bits and bobs and who's and what's it's out of the place. And it took a bit of doing, but I finally got the front of this thing off. Now, getting the front of this thing off was no easy task. I had to basically take apart the entire thing only to find out that this is held on by a couple of clips. But yeah, no, so eventually I got there and I got the buttons out, and here are the buttons. But what I want to do is I want to test each part of this for continuity. And then nothing really seems to be dry or having any cracked joints or anything as far as I can tell. This is the power button here. Like it clicks just fine, and like everything I try to do, like it on the surface it appears to be working just fine. Yeah, no, that seems like a perfectly cromulent set of joints there. But yeah, that looks perfectly fine. Now, what I think might actually be the problem is I think it's probably the connector down here. So, upon closer inspection on the bottom of the motherboard, there is a bunch of this weird sort of like liquidy stuff. That PCB is not looking particularly good. And look at that, where the capacitor is. I get the feeling that the capacitor has leaked. I'll have to take a look at some of the other capacitors as well, and as that capacitor doesn't look like as if it's leaked. So yeah, upon closer inspection of this, that battery definitely looks as though it's got some leakage there. Just look at the area around the battery. First course of action is to remove that, like ASAP, and then we got to clean the board. All the way from the connectors over here to over here, like that board is absolutely soaked. I wish I'd have done this a bit sooner now. That's rough. I was really hoping that the battery hadn't leaked. That capacitor has to go. And the board needs to be cleaned. Okay. So, that's not a great way to treat a PCB, is it? I've probably damaged the damn thing just by doing that. And I'm just going to get the Xbox out of the way here and then just place... Oh, there goes multimeter. And just place it right here. These two right here. Oh. Why is the... Okay, so I got a bit of an update here on the Xbox. I was finally able to get this... pesky clock capacitor out. If you take a close look at it, it looks like it's definitely leaked on the underneath there. We're going to replace it. Now, I've ordered and received a replacement already, and so I was having troubles desoldering it, and it turns out that simply put, my soldering pencil was like completely unfit for the job. So here's the old one, and I've taken it apart a bit, and it turns out that there was a part missing from it. There's a part missing from it because if I look at the old one, if I put it back together, it wobbles, and this just would be nice if I could get focus. This just doesn't stay in place, and it wobbles about like it's going out of business. On top of that, if you take a look at it, it's pretty dirty and terrible and all that sort of stuff. So I did try to sand it down a bit to make it look nicer, until I realized that there's a warning, I forget where it was, saying not to do that. But this solder pencil was just a bit of a mess. On top of that, this tip isn't great for heat transfer. It's great for like certain things, but it's not great for what I was trying to do here with the desoldering. So I've gone and I've purchased a new pencil, and it's got a chisel tip instead of the point tip. It also came with a point tip, but I'm not using it at the moment. And this, like, once I swapped over to this, the job took like maybe 2 minutes. It was much better. I was wondering what the fuck was going on, and I was just using the wrong thing. But yeah, no, so now that we've done that, we just need to install the new one and put this... okay, so let's make a plan for this. Also, sorry if I sound a bit nasally. I am currently sick. So now what I want to do is I want to clean this board, and I want to make sure that all of the acid isn't on it anymore. And 2, I want to check the traces, because I did get some jumper leads, so that I can rebuild some of the traces that may have been destroyed by the battery acid. As I was saying earlier, the system just switches on automatically when it's plugged in, so I want to restore it back to its original state. So we're going to give this a clean. Now, I've been told the way to clean this shit off, and you can kind of see where it is up here. It has gotten mostly all through this board. Like, this is where the capacitor is. Wait, no, I'm dumb. This is where the capacitor was.
and you can see it's gotten all over here, but it's kind of all over the board. So I'm going to grab a Q-tip and I'm just going to start cleaning away. And hopefully whilst I'm taking a look at this, I'll be able to see if there's anything wrong with any of the traces. Now, I'm informed that the traces to keep an eye out for are possibly these ones over here, which run right next to the capacitor and are likely to cause this problem. As a matter of fact, now that I look at it, there's a little spot there. Man, I really wish I'd have done this earlier. It could have saved me a lot of hassle. I was just expecting to open it up, take the capacitor out and fix it. You can see some of the residue has made its way all the way down to this side of the board. Like, this entire board is covered in this shit. I can't believe I didn't notice it at first. Like, I really hope that this isn't too terribly cooked, but look at that. Look at what it's done up there. It's all over the place. If you have an Xbox that's lying around in some cupboard or something like that, please take it out and make sure that it hasn't had this stupid capacitor explode on you. Like, seriously. Like, this is a known defect that affects everything that's, I believe, lower than 1.6. Take out your Xbox, take a look and make sure that this hasn't happened to it, because this is a fucking nightmare, I'll tell you that much. But we will get this thing up and running again, even if it kills me. Okay, so I've got the Xbox kinda half together. I think this should be as good as it has. It's hooked up to the TV, so we'll just plug it in. So I plugged it in and the light has come on. It's AV2. So the Xbox, well, obviously is upset that it doesn't have a hard drive plugged in. Your Xbox requires service. Don't worry about the fact that it's in black and white. This is a black and white TV. So when I plug it in, see, it's plugged in, but nothing's happening. Plug it in. Yeah, and the Xbox is just turned on automatically. I'll be upset because there's no hard drive in it. Now, this is not what we want it to do. So I have gone through and I have given it a thorough cleaning. But it's obvious that there's something here that's not making a proper connection. So I've disconnected the system again. I'm going to do some continuity testing on basically every trace I can find to see if I can find anything that has either got a short or no continuity at all. And then once I've done that, we should be able to figure out what the problem was with the power connector. Usually, I've been informed that when these clock capacitors go, usually this is an issue that happens with them. So, upon closer inspection, I've noticed these little dots here on the edge of this board from the corrosion from the leaked capacitor here. I don't know how the fuck this escaped my eye earlier with how fucking obvious it is. But yeah, so these lines are kaput. So what will need to happen is I will need to basically run a trace from where they started to where they end up. What I'm going to do is first I'm going to try cleaning up this trace and seeing exactly what the damage is like. It looks as though I still haven't done my due diligence and properly cleaned this end of the board. I mean, you can just see it. I did give it a very thorough cleaning, but looks like I'm going to have to clean it again we'll clean it and we'll see if we can clean up these traces, but ultimately I want to find out where they're going so that I can use this wire over here to make a jump solder so that I can just have a wire go directly from here to wherever the trace goes, and that way I won't have to worry about the trace being busted because it'll just go through the wires instead. So I've had a look and I've run a couple tests, and it seems as though out of all these traces at the bottom here, only one of them is not making a connection, which is good because it means I only need to fix one of them for now anyway. Hopefully no more of them break. I have tried my best to clean away the corrosive substance, but you never know what may happen in the future. But as it stands right now, you see that one right here. This little one here right at the bottom. I need to connect to that point down there up to this service looking point up here, and I've followed the trace and it does lead up there to that top one, and there is no continuity there. There is for the other 2 points to the other 2 traces, but this one is just simply missing continuity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this jump cable and I'm going to basically just go directly down here, go across, maybe stick it underneath this adhesive, this thermal pad here, and then go up to the top here or something like that. Or I may even just go directly across and put some tape or something like that, whichever works, but we'll wire it up and we'll see if we can get this to not instantly turn off. Okay, so I have run the jumper cable all the way from the new endpoint all the way to the start here. Unfortunately, this particular point here was a bit too small to solder to. So what I've done is I've just gone over the board here and soldered it to the component that it actually connects to. So it should have continuity now. So what I might do is I might just grab my multimeter and let's just give it a test. So we are this one to this one. We have continuity. We don't have continuity to the other points. I'm not too happy about having the exposed jumper lead so close to another metal point, so I might actually just like tape that down. But for the time being, I just want to check and make sure it works. So let's put this all back together and see if it works. Okay, time for the moment of truth. There goes my finger. And well, the system hasn't turned on yet, which is a good sign. Oh, and look at that. Works perfectly. Now I can actually turn off the system, hopefully. And now it's going to give me an error saying, oh, sorry, no hard drive. Oh, it just, when I press the button, it actually turned off. I'm so used to electronics not listening to me. Whoa, that just instantly turned off. That's cool. Okay, well, this is fixed. Sweet. So now I'm just going to put it back together and, well, that should be it for now. I'll put it back together, make sure everything's working, and we can plug it back in the TV in the other room, and it can actually be used for once. Cool. One thing I forgot to mention before we go ahead with that is we are still missing our clock capacitor. So I'm just going to pop this baby open and we will add that back in. Once that's back in, I'll put it all back together and then we can use it like normal. I'm really excited that that fix worked. Okay, so as you can see, I've put the new clock capacitor in. It's nice and soldered there in place. I should probably give this a little bit of a clean. Yeah, there we go. That's a nice, relatively clean solder job. These little bits are sticking a bit out to the right because I was having troubles getting the capacitor to stay in place. So I just bent the legs over a little bit and that kept it in place long enough for me to solder it. Unfortunately, I didn't realize how close these two would be. I don't think there's going to be any issue with how close those are together. If I'm honest, I'm quite happy with how well the solder job turned out, because I'm used to these ending up like a dog's breakfast. So turns out having a new tip and knowing how to use it properly really helps. So I'm just gonna pop this back in and we'll see if it works. Okay everyone, I have installed the new clock capacitor and now I've put the system back together. It is plugged in, it is switched on. So we're going to turn it on and see if we can actually set the clock. Microsoft Xbox. Okay, clock. So it's 10:15. 10:15 p.m. 3rd of June 2022. Okay, that is the A button down there. Okay, so I've set it. There's the clock, it knows what time it is. So I guess if we just... I've never actually used an Xbox that had a working power button, so turn it off. Holy shit, it just like turns off. It's like, it's not even like, are you sure or anything. I don't have to hold it or anything. It just turns off. Okay, so let's turn it back on again. Oh, would you look at that? It didn't ask. And the clock is intact. Look at that. Everything's all working. Okay, well now we're going to wrap this up and we're going to put it back in the entertainment unit in the game room and then play some games on it, I guess. Okay, so for this one, I'm not being lazy. I'm actually using a tripod this time. We're going to plug it in and we're going to see if it works. I've got a copy of Burnout 2 here I want to play, so let's give it a shot. Oh, look at that. That's definitely... it's definitely running. That was supposed to eject the disk drive. Huh, I guess it was just a bit stuck. So clearly it looks as though I had this set to a, let's see if we can make that a bit easier to look at. Oh, it just booted into the game? No, thanks. So first things first, we want to jump into the system settings and tell it is on a non-widescreen monitor at the moment. Much better. Look at that, that looks good. And now let's put the disc in and give it a go. I haven't ever actually properly used an Xbox before because this one's always had issues with it. It looks as though it might have an issue with ejecting the disc tray as well, but I don't care that much. There's probably only going to be a couple games I'll play on it. But yeah, no, there we go. It's working. I was going to say, oh, I'll sit down and play it for a bit, and but I only have a few minutes left of recording space on my phone. And yes, I'm aware this isn't the best way to output the Xbox. It's just the only way I've got to output the Xbox at the moment. So until I can afford to spend more money on it, and actually get like an RGB cable and stuff like that, and there's not much I can do about that. Okay, so what I might do is I might sit down and I might actually play this for a bit, and because I know that sometimes with fixes like this there's issues with where the game just kind of stops working after a few hours and it just switches off or something like that. So I just want to make sure that the system is indeed working. So yeah, I'll come back after I've given it a bit of a chance to fail, and we'll see you then. Okay, so I've been playing the game for about an hour and a half now, and yeah, the game's still working fine. Like, the system hasn't switched off. Like, it's running like a charm, and yeah, it's all working and all of that sort of stuff. So the thing I'm interested in, fuck, damn it, my brain reverted to Nintendo controls for a second. No. The control scheme here is really weird because the start and select buttons are on like the left hand side of the controller. Like, what the fuck? So if there's no way to back out? Oh, the start button backs out. Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, the back button doesn't back out. There's just no way to return to the menu? I seem to remember the PlayStation letting me just do that. I wonder if just pressing the eject button does it. Yeah, the eject button boots it back to the menu, which I can imagine would be really fucking annoying for games that are multi-disc, if there's any of them. I know that there's some on the PS2. I don't know about the Xbox. But anywho, now let's finish this off by doing what we couldn't do in the first place. Are you serious? This disk drive. But let's end it by doing what we couldn't do before we started doing this. That is, turn it off with the power button.